Have you ever wondered if something as simple and healthy as walking could actually put your life at risk after age 70? For decades, walking has been praised as one of the best and safest exercises, especially for older adults. And indeed, for most seniors, a daily walk improves circulation, supports joint health, and uplifts the spirit. But recent insights from geriatric doctors and stroke specialists are now urging caution. Walking too much, especially after age 70, could significantly increase your risk of stroke. Let's explore why and what you need to know to protect your health. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Aging, hearts, and fragile vessels, the hidden danger. As we age, our bodies begin to speak a quieter language, one of limitations, caution, and deeper sensitivity. The heart that once carried us through years of hard work, family responsibilities, and emotional milestones now beats with more fragility. Our blood vessels, once elastic and strong, slowly lose their resilience, becoming stiff and narrow. This transformation isn't sudden, it's gradual, subtle, and often unnoticed until something breaks. After the age of 70, walking, which has long been regarded as the gold standard of safe exercise, may no longer be entirely safe when done in excess. You might think you're doing the right thing by walking longer and farther, but your body may be telling a different story. The older heart is less efficient at handling sudden exertion. Long or brisk walks, especially under stress, can cause sharp spikes in blood pressure. These pressure surges pass through arteries that are more vulnerable, particularly in the brain, and here's where it becomes truly dangerous. Those fragile arteries can rupture or become blocked without warning. The result? A stroke that could change your life forever. It's not that walking is bad, it's that too much walking, without consideration of age-related changes, becomes risky. As we push our limits, whether out of pride, habit, or misinformation, our cardiovascular system may be quietly struggling, edging closer to crisis. High blood pressure during exertion can trigger micro tears in weakened vessels, allowing clots to form or blood to leak into the brain. For someone over 70, it doesn't take much. A long walk on a warm day, a slight feeling of fatigue ignored, a missed medication. These small details can become the tipping point. Many seniors have underlying conditions like atrial fibrillation or chronic hypertension that go undetected. These conditions make the risk of stroke even higher when paired with overexertion. Sadly, the warning signs are easy to miss until it's too late. That's why doctors now urge older adults to walk wisely, not endlessly. Movement should never become a burden on the heart. We must stop believing that more is always better. Instead, we must embrace a new mindset, one that honors the body's wisdom and the reality that slowing down can be the most courageous choice of all. But how does something as ordinary as walking become the trigger for such a catastrophic event? And why do so many seniors never see it coming? Let's uncover the silent nature of stroke and why it's often called the killer that whispers. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. The stroke that sneaks up on you. It begins like any other day. The sun is shining. You step outside feeling the breeze, your feet carrying you down a familiar path. Perhaps you've done this walk 100 times before, around the block, to the park, to the store. You feel good, maybe even proud, But somewhere along the way, a shift occurs. It's not dramatic. Maybe it's a little lightheadedness, a strange tightness in your chest, or a dragging in your foot. You brush it off. You're just tired, you think. You keep going. And then, in a quiet, terrifying moment, your body betrays you. This is how stroke often strikes in older adults, without warning, without pain, and without time to prepare. It's not always like the dramatic scenes shown on television. In real life, strokes in seniors often begin subtly, disguised as fatigue, confusion, imbalance, or slight slurring of words. These signals are tragically easy to overlook, but in the brain, something irreversible is happening. When you're over 70, the mechanisms that regulate blood flow to the brain aren't as sharp as they used to be. Walking for extended periods, especially in hot weather or when you're dehydrated, can lead to a drop in cerebral perfusion. In simple terms, the brain may not get enough oxygen at the exact moment it needs it most. A small clot, a tiny burst vessel, just one of these can cut off life-giving blood to part of your brain. In minutes, the damage begins. The cruel part? Many seniors believe they're doing something healthy when it happens. They were following advice, they were trying to stay active. But the truth is, when a senior over 70 pushes too far, walks too long, or ignores signs of fatigue, the line between exercise and overexertion becomes dangerously thin. What follows can be devastating: loss of speech, paralysis, memory impairment, the very abilities that allow us to live independently, to connect with loved ones, to express who we are, can vanish in an instant. Stroke doesn't just steal movement, it steals identity. It leaves families shattered and seniors afraid of their own bodies. And that's why the risk must be spoken about openly and urgently, because it doesn't come with a shout. It comes quietly, in steps we thought were safe. But what if we could hear the body before it breaks? What if the early signs, fatigue, shortness of breath, or leg heaviness, weren't brushed aside, but recognized as the warning bells they truly are? That's where we must turn next, to understand the language of fatigue and why ignoring it can cost far more than a walk ever gives. 3. Fatigue is a warning, not a sign of weakness. In the lives of those who have endured, built, and sacrificed, there is a quiet resilience that often refuses to yield. Many older adults carry the mindset of pushing through pain, of not complaining, of believing that feeling tired simply means you have to keep going. After all, you've faced much harder things than fatigue. A little weakness shouldn't stop you now. But as we age, what we once considered a sign of strength may in fact become a dangerous form of denial. Fatigue, particularly during physical activity like walking, is not just an inconvenience. It is a message from the body, a subtle plea for rest, an alert that something deeper is happening beneath the surface. At age 70 and beyond, our cardiovascular and neurological systems no longer rebound the way they once did. The recovery window narrows, the margin for pushing just a bit more becomes thin, and the cost of ignoring that warning grows exponentially. When walking starts to feel unusually tiring, when your legs feel heavy, your breath comes harder, or you notice a fog settling over your focus, it is not a test of will. It is a red flag. These symptoms may be signs that the brain is not receiving enough oxygen, that the heart is struggling to maintain circulation, or that blood pressure is fluctuating unpredictably. Continuing on in that state isn't courage, it's silent risk. And yet, so many seniors push forward, afraid of becoming dependent, fearful of appearing weak. They tell themselves, "I'll rest when I'm done." But the truth is, rest must come when the body asks for it, not when we decide it's convenient. To walk through fatigue is to walk blindfolded toward danger. Doctors have long warned that signs like dizziness, blurred vision, shortness of breath, or even momentary confusion are not normal responses to walking. These are often the earliest symptoms of a brewing cardiovascular event. Left unheeded, they may lead to a stroke, heart attack, or dangerous fall. True strength at this stage in life is not about pushing further, it's about listening closer. The wisdom of age is the ability to know when to stop, when to care for the body as gently as it once cared for others. Because when fatigue speaks, it is not weakness, it is wisdom disguised as discomfort. 7. But if simply walking when tired can bring such serious consequences, then what about the culture around us that tells us to do more, walk more, hit step goals, and never slow down? Could this constant push to be active actually be doing more harm than good? Let's take a hard look at the hidden pressure seniors face and why not all steps are healthy. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Not all steps are healthy. The overexercise epidemic among seniors. In today's world, we are constantly told to move more, walk farther, stay active, stay independent. From television ads to wellness newsletters, from fitness trackers on our wrists to cheerful encouragements from younger loved ones, the message is loud and clear. Keep going. Don't slow down. 10,000 steps a day. But for those of us in our 70s and beyond, this message, though well-intended, can be dangerously misleading. We grew up in a time when work was physical, rest was earned, and movement was part of daily life, not something tracked by a device. So, when we're told to keep pushing, it might feel natural to comply. Yet, no one talks enough about what happens when the advice to move more turns into a silent pressure to do more than our aging bodies can handle. The reality is that many older adults are quietly overexercising, not because they want to compete, but because they're afraid to be left behind. They don't want to be seen as slowing down, becoming dependent, or giving in to age. The problem is, our bodies are not the same as they were at 40 or even 60. Recovery takes longer. Joints are more delicate. Heart rhythms fluctuate more easily. Blood vessels, thinner and less resilient, respond poorly to exertion without rest. But the cultural pressure to stay constantly active, to reach step goals, to match the pace of younger generations, ignores the biological truth of aging. It pushes seniors to a level of physical activity that may, ironically, increase their risk of falls, cardiovascular strain, or stroke. A brisk hour-long walk may seem like a victory, but for an older adult with silent hypertension or early signs of atrial fibrillation, it could be the trigger for something life-altering. The body, already under stress, is pushed to perform like it once did, and in that gap between expectation and reality, damage is done. We must reclaim the right to move on our own terms. Exercise should support health, not endanger it. It should bring vitality, not fear. The healthiest step is not always the longest. It is the one taken with intention, awareness, and respect for the body's true needs. And yet, even with wise limits and self-awareness, one moment of imbalance, one wrong step can change everything. Because after 70, it's not just about effort, it's about terrain, hydration, rhythm, and subtle shifts. Let's explore how environmental and physical stressors during a simple walk can turn into a life-threatening event, and what you must watch out for every time you lace up your shoes. 5. Doctor-recommended safe walking practices for seniors. As we grow older, wisdom must take the place of willpower. We've spent our lives moving forward through hardship, work, raising families, and building legacies. Now, in our later years, movement must come not from pressure or pride, but from purpose. Walking remains one of the most beautiful and accessible forms of activity, but after 70, it is no longer about how far you go. It's about how gently and wisely you get there. Doctors who specialize in senior health now urge a shift in mindset, from endurance to intention. The body in its eighth decade responds differently to stress. Long walks, steep inclines, or even moderate walks done too often without breaks can trigger spikes in blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, or mental fatigue, all of which quietly increase the risk of stroke. But this doesn't mean giving up walking, it means walking smarter. Gentle movement, 15 to 30 minutes at a comfortable pace on flat, even ground, can work wonders when done consistently. It improves circulation, strengthens the heart, supports joint function, and boosts mood. But the key lies in consistency and moderation, not intensity. The safest walks happen during cooler times of day, with supportive footwear, a bottle of water in hand, and perhaps a companion by your side. Hydration is not just helpful, it is essential. Dehydration thickens the blood, stresses the heart, and increases stroke risk more than most seniors realize. Equally important is listening to the body's subtle cues: a fluttering heartbeat, a wave of dizziness, an ache in your chest, or a haze in your thinking. These are not signs of weakness. They are early warnings. Ignoring them is like silencing the smoke alarm when the fire is still small. Doctors now recommend that seniors use heart monitors or smartwatches if they've had prior heart issues. These simple tools can track dangerous rhythms before symptoms appear. And always speak with your doctor before beginning a new routine. What works for someone else may not be safe for you. Walking should give life, not steal it. In these later years, how you walk matters more than how far you walk. This is not slowing down. It's stepping forward with care, with awareness, and with the grace that comes from a life already well walked. But even with the best habits in place, we cannot ignore the deeper cost of a single misstep. Because when stroke comes, it doesn't just hurt the body, it can take away the very things that make us who we are. Let's now confront with open eyes and open hearts the life-altering toll a stroke can take. 6. Stroke is not just a risk, it's a life changer. We often hear the word stroke spoken in clinical terms: a diagnosis, a medical emergency, something that happens to others. But for those who have lived long enough to know the weight of life's fragile moments, stroke is not just a health event, it is a thief. A stroke can steal not only movement or memory, it can steal identity, independence, and dignity. And for older adults, the cost is often far greater, and the road back far steeper than anyone warns us about. A stroke after age 70 doesn't simply interrupt life, it can rearrange it completely. Tasks once done with ease, getting dressed, preparing breakfast, having a conversation, can become distant, difficult, or even impossible. Many survivors are left with partial paralysis, speech impairments, or cognitive decline that makes it hard to recognize even their own families. The person they were, their voice, their pace, their sense of humor can fade, sometimes permanently. And the emotional toll runs even deeper. For many seniors, the aftermath of a stroke brings something even more painful than physical limitation: the loss of independence. Suddenly, the home you once maintained becomes a maze of obstacles. Your daily routines are no longer your own. You may need help with bathing, eating, moving. And for someone who has spent a lifetime caring for others, needing care can feel unbearable. It's a heavy truth. Nearly 40% of stroke survivors over 70 never regain full mobility, and 1 in 3 require round-the-clock care. The stroke doesn't end when the hospital stay does. It continues in quiet struggles, frustration when words won't come, grief over lost abilities, isolation as friends grow distant. And while some recover, many do not fully, not in the ways that matter most. This is why prevention must be more than a suggestion. It must be a calling. Walking safely, listening to your body, honoring your limits. These are not small choices. They are the line between independence and dependence, between life as you know it and life after stroke. But there is still hope. There is still choice. The path to protection begins not with fear, but with wisdom. So what does it truly mean to walk with wisdom in your later years? In our final reflection, let us return to what matters most, not just how we move, but how we live. 7. Walking with wisdom. The balance between activity and safety. There comes a time in life when wisdom must lead the way, when we no longer measure strength by distance or speed, but by how carefully we honor our bodies. After 70, walking should not be about proving something. It should not be about step counts, pushing through pain, or keeping up with someone else's idea of what active means. Instead, it should become an act of quiet self-respect, of listening to your body and moving with intention, not ambition. Walking with wisdom is not about giving up on movement. It's about recognizing that movement, like life, has seasons. In this season, the later chapters, we must adjust not only how far we walk, but why we walk. We walk to support our heart, not strain it. We walk to clear our minds, not confuse our balance. We walk to stay connected to the world, not to chase it. It is no longer about doing more. It is about doing what matters, safely. Wisdom means choosing the time of day when the sun is gentle, when the air is cool, and when your energy is steady. It means taking breaks without guilt. It means accepting that every step, no matter how small, is enough when it is taken with awareness. It means knowing that rest is not a sign of weakness. It is a part of the rhythm of health. There is deep courage in walking slowly, in saying, "This is enough for today," in letting go of the pace you once kept. It takes strength to resist the pressure to keep going when your body says stop. That strength is a gift of age. And with that gift comes the responsibility to protect what you've earned, your independence, your clarity, your peace. So let walking become your companion, not your challenge. Let it be a time for reflection, gratitude, even prayer. Let it serve your well-being, not threaten it. The balance between activity and safety is not something you'll find in a number of steps. It's something you'll feel in your heart if you're brave enough to listen. And in this act of wise movement, something else is revealed. Not just how we move, but what we value most in this life. Because beyond all the steps, beneath all the choices, lies a deeper truth. What are we really walking toward? In our final thought, let's return to the essence of aging, not as decline, but as a time to walk with purpose, peace, and the wisdom only a full life can bring. The wisdom in every step, walking gently through the final chapters. In the final stretch of life's journey, we begin to understand that true strength isn't in how far we walk, but in how wisely we move. We have spent decades walking, through trials, through joy, through uncertainty. Our legs may be slower now, our balance a little unsure, but our insight is deeper than ever. We no longer need to prove our vitality through motion. Instead, we prove it through awareness, restraint, and deep respect for the body that has carried us this far. Walking after 70 can still be a beautiful ritual, a time to connect with nature, clear the mind, and feel alive. But it must be approached not with urgency, but with grace. When we slow our steps, we begin to hear more clearly the quiet signals of the body, the rhythm of our breath, the gentle warnings that once were drowned out by pride or pressure. This is not surrender. This is wisdom. And perhaps now, more than ever, we must remember that health in old age is not about doing more. It is about protecting what remains. It is about savoring time, not chasing it. Every step should serve your peace, not steal it. So walk, yes, but walk gently. Walk with gratitude for each breath, with care for each heartbeat, and with honor for the long path you've already traveled. Because in this chapter, it is not how far you go, but how deeply you live that truly matters. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with senior health tips. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.